Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan Cornette, class of 2005, played here at Notre Dame from 2001 to 2005. It's an absolute honor to be here in front of you all today on such a sublime day, celebrating a new era in a program that means so much to me. We're gonna have questions here in a little bit. You'll have a chance to hear from Coach, Jack, Father John as well. But I'd like to say a few words on behalf of the program and this impressive man behind me that's gonna take this program to even greater heights. A tactician, a savant, an elite recruiter, principled, skillful manager of a locker room, and a leader. All these things said about our new head coach, Micah Shrewsberry. This was a first. History achieved at Notre Dame. And I'm not referencing the fact that Coach Shrewsberry is the first black men's basketball head coach. That is notable, certainly. That is worth celebrating, absolutely. However, the history I'm referring to is that for the first time that I'm aware of, in big-time basketball, that a coach was selected for a vacancy, and not one person to my knowledge, not one, had a negative reaction. I mean, think about the world we're in right now where everybody wants to be a detractor. Everybody has something negative to say. Across the board, from former players, alumni, pundits, this was a home run hire, getting Coach Micah Shrewsberry here to Notre Dame. In regards to this home run hire, more specifically addressing the hire, I met with Jack a few months ago during his diligent approach to selecting the proper guy for this job. He graciously elected to meet with a couple former players. I was lucky enough to be one of them. And in my meeting, Jack made it very clear. There was a number one on the list, and there were the others. And that's no disrespect to the others, but Coach knew who he wanted to be the man for this job. It was Coach Micah Shrewsberry. We spent most of our time mentioning other candidates for the sake of being thorough, but it was clear in that dialogue this was the best person to guide this program to greater heights. It was an incredibly proud day for me and several others when the announcement came that Father John and Jack had landed the plane and we had got our guy. When you reflect back on the impressive career that Micah has carved out to this point, it's hard not to be excited. Every stop on his basketball journey, he has left that place better off. I'm not certain he's gonna have that same effect here at Notre Dame. You know why? Coach, we ain't gonna let you leave. We ain't gonna let you leave here. Speaking on behalf of my fellow Notre Dame Hoops brethren, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Coach, his entire family, his wife Molly, his sons Braden and Nicholas. They're gonna be a hell of players here when they get here. And welcome his daughters, Caitlin and Grace, as well. That's enough of my time. This moment is much bigger than me. I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'd like to now introduce a person who had a heavy hand in this process, selecting our coach, quite frankly, a heavy hand in everything here at Notre Dame. I'd like to intro Father John.
Warm greetings to everyone in the Notre Dame family, those here with us, those watching online. On behalf of our students, our faculty, our staff here in South Bend and in Notre Dame around the world, I extend our very warmest welcome to Coach Micah Shrewsberry and his Molly and his lovely family. You know, Jack Swarbrick and I met with Micah and Molly Shrewsberry last week to talk about the possibility of coming to Notre Dame. And in these searches, I trust Jack and his staff to find the best basketball coach to build this program. And my focus is more on, does this person fit the values of this institution, values of faith, of integrity, and caring about the academic success and well-being of our students, of a commitment to be about something more than themselves, to serve in the world. The conversation showed me that Micah would do so in an exemplary way and would be a great leader for this Notre Dame program. Micah is the kind of coach-educator that we want here at Notre Dame. One clear indication of that is that in that conversation, Molly and Micah had more questions about schools and the community and the welcoming atmosphere for families here at Notre Dame than about facilities and budget and basketball details. They are a family, a couple committed to their family. Everything about Micah's life reflects the values we espouse here at Notre Dame. He will be successful on the court, and he will do so in a way that reflects Notre Dame. We could not be more delighted to have Micah Shrewsberry as our next basketball coach. I want to give a shout out to another person who lives those ideals, and that's our athletic director, Jack Swarbrick, with whom I've had the privilege to work as a colleague, leading our athletic department for 13 years. As we turn it over to him, I simply want to thank him for his leadership of this athletic program and the successful conclusion to this search. Thank you very much.
Keeping things moving here, I'd like to introduce Jack Swarbrick, who, kind enough to me, responded to my text, the unrelenting text I sent him over the weeks during the search. Jack, good morning. It's Monday. Have a great week. Micah, Micah, Micah. He actually responded to those. I'm very appreciative of that, and I'd now like to welcome him up to the podium.
Thanks, Jordan, and thanks, Father John. It's great to see so many of you here, especially fellow coaches that reinforce the notion of the coach community here and how we all help each other and support each other. And I know Michael will find that, but thank you for being here today. When I began this search, I was unsure how the opening would be perceived, and as a consequence, what kind of candidates we might attract. I quickly learned that the perception of the job was exceptionally positive, and as a natural byproduct, the candidate pool proved to be exceptionally strong. Part of that, of course, is Notre Dame, and the university this is and what it represents. But part of that, it's important to acknowledge, is also the consequence of Mike Bray's efforts. I discovered that it wasn't just Mike's competitive success that caused this to be perceived as such an attractive job. Winning as coach in ND history, back-to-back Elite Eights, winning the ACC title in his second year in the conference, I could go on and on. But it was the way Mike demonstrated that you could have a level of success with the type of student athletes that are attracted to this university, and you could do it while enjoying the journey. I also want to acknowledge and thank our basketball alumni. Jordan is a leading example of that, and I can assure you he does know how to send text messages. But in addition to him, there were countless members of the basketball alumni who reached out, who offered to help, who committed to help going forward as Micah takes over the reins of the program. During my time at Notre Dame, I've had the privilege of hiring head coaches in 22 of our 26 sports. In none of the cases was I faced with a candidate pool that was this strong. Between the outreach we initiated and the contacts made to us by others, we evaluated over 70 candidates for the position. We fairly quickly zeroed in on 8, and at the end of the day concluded that 6 of those 8 would be successful at Notre Dame. But per usual, we began the process not by looking at those 70 candidates. We began it by identifying the characteristics we thought were critical to success in the next head coach here. We identified 10 in total, and each time we screened, each time we went from 70 down to a smaller number, down to 8, down to 6, we applied those criteria. And every time we did, the same person came out on top. Micah fits Notre Dame. In a sense, he's been on a career-long journey. Some might say a lifelong journey, much of it spent in Indiana, that makes his arrival here today feel almost preordained. So Micah, Molly, and family, welcome home to your new home. Micah, come on up. This side.
The biggest debate that we had before we walked out here was whether I was going to wear a T-shirt underneath the jersey when I put it on, or I was just going to wear it regular. So I'm going to save that for later. I'm going to wait till you guys leave. Then I'll put the jersey on. I don't want. We're on a time crunch here. First of all, thank you, Father John, Jack, for your willingness to consider me, to meet, to talk to my family, and now, give me this opportunity at Notre Dame, which is really special. So thank you so much for that. I'm indebted to you guys, and I'm just glad to be here and can't wait to get started. Also, I need to thank Penn State University and the administrators there, Sandy Barber, Lynn Holleran, who gave me an opportunity 2 years ago. And they took a chance on me as an assistant coach who had never coached a day in his life. And they took a chance on me. So thank you so much to them, the administration at Penn State, the players who took me on an unbelievable ride, and the fun that we had together building that in 2 years, and then the staff. I'm not here without them. I'm not here without them, and I appreciate every bit of that and everything that they did that we were able to accomplish together in 2 years. My number one value is family. My number one value is family, and they are, like Jack talked about and Father John talked about, every decision that's ever made in my life always involves them. So I have to thank first and foremost my wife, Molly. This has been, she's been on a tremendous ride, but she's been driving the ship, right? I'm just a passenger in this. She's doing all the real work, and, thank you so much for everything, Molly. My two boys, Braden and Nick. Braden, the future home here, gets a chance to get up, shoot some threes here at the Joyce Center. So, and Nick on his way. I'm excited that he gets a chance to play high school basketball in the state of Indiana. So thank you guys for this. My two beautiful daughters, Caitlin and Grace, thank you guys for everything and just for being there, right? There's tough days as a coach, but when you get a hug after a tough night, that means everything. And I appreciate you guys for everything. One small decision shakes a lot of people's lives, and I understand that. And I don't take that lightly, but they were all in, and they were all in to come here because they knew how special a place this is. Also here, I have some other friends that are here in attendance, and I want to thank you guys for coming and being here. And then also my family. My sister Monica couldn't be here, but my big sister Michelle's here. She's my rock, and don't nobody mess with me. They got to get through my sister Michelle first, so thank you for being here. My mom, who's been taking care of me for 46 years, with everything, and now my kids have picked up on that, and now they go directly to her for everything. And then my father, Bill Shrewsberry, he's my role model. He's my role model, and he taught me a long time ago to believe in yourself and in your dreams, though impossible things may seem. And now that full circle moment is coming about, and in 2005, I was the head coach at IU South Bend down the street. And I would always drive by this going home and always dreamed about what it would be like to coach here. And now in 2023, I'm getting that opportunity. So believing in yourself and in your dreams, that's really come true. And thank you. Thank you for that. And Jim McGuire, Molly's dad, Jane are both here also. Thank you guys for being here as well. I'm an Indiana kid. Grew up in Jeffersonville, moved to Indianapolis and grew up there, went to high school there. From St. Matthew's School to Cathedral High School, I probably didn't have a chance but to love Notre Dame. The amount of classmates that went to school here, the amount of people, you know, we had the gold helmets at our school. We had the Irish mascot. It was destined for me to be here. And I really believe that. But through this time, since I've been announced, I felt the passion of Notre Dame from, you know, the coaches that are sitting here in the athletic department. I can't wait to get a chance to work with you and talk with you. The students that are here. I see some of the current players that are here. Jordan and a lot of the basketball alumni have reached out to me, and everybody in the community that I've walked past or talked to, I feel the passion of Notre Dame. And it's real, right? A lot of people talk about family and they talk about passion, but it is real here. And I can't wait to really get ingrained into this and learn more, but to be a part of this. The other thing that I've learned, and, you know, part of this is going through a lot of HR stuff. I start to look at the pillars. And the number one thing that stood out to me was excellence. It was excellence, because as you walk around campus, as you go through this campus, no matter who it is, whether it's people working at the Morris Inn or whether it's somebody cleaning the Joy Center and getting ready for this press conference, whether it's watching Marcus and his team practice the other day, whether it's watching Neil's team on TV, whether you see students with their backpacks on going across campus to class, you see people pursuing excellence. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to be about. And that's what we are going to do here. I want this, right? I'm a college basketball guy. I love college basketball because you get to be around people pursuing excellence, right? You know, my sons were lucky to be around the Boston Celtics in their formative years, and they saw that up close. They saw what it took for Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, a Marcus Smart, and Al Horford to be at the top of their careers and what it took to be there. But now my daughters can see it also, right? They can look at Neil's teams. They can look at Salima's teams. They can just see people walking across campus trying to be doctors, trying to be lawyers, trying to be artists, whatever it may be. Everybody here is pursuing excellence, and that's what I want. That's what I wanted to be around. That's what I wanted to surround myself with. But that's what our team's going to be as well. That's how we're going to play. We're going to pursue excellence on a daily basis. We're going to try and grow as players. We're going to try and grow as people. And we're going to become the best versions of ourselves. My goal is to take the baton from the parents that have blessed me with their sons and help them grow. And help them grow to become great young men who are able to do something special. And you can do that at a place like this. This place is going to prepare you to be special in your life if you pursue excellence while you're here. Our teams, I can get into strategy. I can talk about basketball all day. That's me. I'm a basketball coach. But the things that really stand out to me that we're going to do as a program, we're going to play with discipline. We're going to play with toughness. And we're going to play together. If you do that, you give yourself a chance every single night, and that's all I'm asking. Nobody's going to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect, right? Been a head coach for 2 years. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes, and they're going to make mistakes too, but we're going to grow together, and we're going to do this together, and we're going to stay in those principles of what we need to do, and that's how we're going to pursue excellence in our own way. The final thing is people ask, like, you know, why did you come here? What drew you back? And home is a big part of it. Right? I get a chance to see my family now really closely and get a chance to be with them on a short drive away. But the other thing is, and I truly believe this, you can win a national championship here. You can win a national championship here, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to fight for every single day. We're also going to do it the right way. We're going to find kids that fit Notre Dame. We're going to find kids that care about their academics. We're going to find kids that want to be great basketball players. And there's a chance for you to do both here. And if we do that, we find those kids, we be the toughest team, we be the most disciplined team, we be the most together team. We're going to pursue national championships. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open this up to question and answers. I'm going to get things started with the first question here for Coach. Coach, you touched on it a little bit there, without getting too in the weeds, inside basketball, if you will. But with a new regime comes a new era. With a new era comes a new identity. What will be the identity of this Notre Dame basketball family and program that you usher in?
The one thing that's good here is you have a great blueprint. And Coach Bray had a lot of success here. And I got a chance to talk to him about some things. And he laid the foundation for the success that you can have. So we want to follow that up. But we do it in different ways. I think, if you would ask about me, I'm a defensive guy first. I care about it didn't always show up this year, but I did care about defense. But I think that gives you a chance to win, right? We have to have a defensive system, a defensive foundation to give yourself a chance to win. And then, basketball-wise, I really value skill. I really value guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot, the guys that can think the game and can play on their feet and can think on their feet and can make decisions really quickly. So you're going to see a lot of that. But before you get to all that, it's a program built on player development and built on improvement. And if we have guys that want to get better, like, we're going to have something in place for you. I think even if you don't want to get better, you're going to get better by being around us. But if you do, then you can really take your game to the next level. And I think if we're growing and getting better as individuals, we're getting better as a team. And that's what we want. We want our team to get better, and we want to peak in March.
Micah, Tom Noyes, South Bend Tribune. What is it about Indiana natives and basketball that is just the connection where you had to come home to Indiana for college basketball?
Yeah, it's just different, Tom. I had, as we grew up in Jeffersonville, Indiana, we had season tickets to our high school, right? Jeffersonville High School, we had season tickets where we sat every single game, and I grew up idolizing those guys. I grew up following college basketball, and in this state, whether it be Indiana, whether it be Purdue, whether it be Notre Dame, I grew up watching those teams. Like, I didn't watch the NBA. I watched it a little bit. Right? I knew who Michael Jordan was. I knew who all the great players was because I loved the game. But college basketball was my thing. High school basketball is big. Just the passion that everybody has for it, that draws you back. It's not that way everywhere. It's not that way everywhere. And that's okay. Right? You find what you love and what you're attracted to. I don't have many hobbies. I don't really have any hobbies. My family and basketball, right? Like, everybody talks about basketball as what I do. It's not who I am. No, it's what I do and it's who I am. I'm a family man and I love hoops. And that's what brought me back. And this place is special. And you get a chance to, you can do special things here at a place that loves basketball.
I know coaching Penn State was always your first priority this year, but how many times since this job came open January 19th, January 20th, did you allow yourself at a quiet moment to think, maybe if everything works out, if the timing works out, Notre Dame might be a place for Micah Shrewsberry?
Yeah, not much at all. Not much at all. I'm, like I just said, that's all I'm thinking about is basketball. And I owe that to the kids on our team at Penn State. Those guys had given a lot And we were trying to do something special at that school. They'd never been to the NCAA tournament since 2011, hadn't won a game since 2001. That was our main focus. We had some seniors that had given a lot, and we had some seniors and some players that took a chance on me. Like I talked about, the Penn State administration. We had some players that took a chance and decided to come and play for me before I'd ever even coached a game. I owed it to those guys to give them my full attention. And we had an up and down rocky season. We got hot at the end. But it was because we were all tunnel vision. I can't ask them to be tunnel vision on what we were doing in our season, and I'm looking elsewhere or I'm doing other things. So when our season ended, that's when my focus shifted, and I was able to really focus on this opportunity.
Patrick Engel, Blue and Gold Illustrated. Micah, Brad Stevens gave you that first opportunity at Butler and then obviously hired you with the Celtics. In the, 10 seasons working for him, what was his biggest impact on your career, your influence, how you see the game and approach it?
It was not how to open a water bottle here. I'm trying to. Brad is such, he's a great mentor. He's a great friend. He and I grew up playing basketball in the playground in Indianapolis back in 1995. My opportunity to go work with him and see him up close and personal, work with him for 10 years, right? What I learned during that time was like the genuineness of who he is, how he treats people on staff, how you communicate with players, how you get the best out of your players, how you mold a team. We did that at a lot of different levels. At a school like Butler, at a program like the Boston Celtics. I think if you look at those teams, the togetherness, the toughness, those are things I've tried to emulate. I call him, every other day, and we still talk. He's probably tired of me, but I call him every other day and pick his brain on advice, whether it's job advice or whether it's player development advice. And the biggest thing is he's a friend. He's there for you, right? Brad texts after the losses. Nobody texts you when you get beat. Just so everybody knows this. It's okay to text somebody when they get beat. Like, we understand it. But, you get 1,000 texts when good things happen. Nobody texts you when you lose. Brad texts you when you get beat. That's the kind of person he is. So, basketball-wise, philosophies, a lot of what we do is very similar to what we were doing at Butler, what we were doing at Boston. So, I borrow a lot of those philosophies. But who he is as a person is more of how I try and, be like him.
When you were talking to him about this job and this opening, what was his advice, opinions, if he gave them to you, especially as an Indiana guy who probably knew the value of and what it meant to come back here and coach?
Yeah, we're both Division III guys, and I think that probably is part of my attraction for who I recruit, what kind of schools that I want to work at. I know the value of education. I know what it can do for you, but you can also have a lot of success playing basketball at the same time. You can be really good in a couple of things. You can be a really good student. You can be a really good basketball player, right? Probably can't have three things that you're really good at, right? So some things got to take a back seat, but you can be really good at those two things if you want to be. That's why this was so attractive. And Brad felt the same way. But he also, like I said, he's there for me as a friend. So if I needed to bounce ideas off of him and pick his brain on anything, that's what he's there for. And, he's supportive. He and Tracy, Brady, Kinsley are so supportive of what we're doing. And, he probably already has a bag full of Notre Dame stuff sitting in his living room right now.
Coach, good morning. Tim Priester from Irish Illustrated. Welcome back to South Bend.
Thank you.
You've spoken about the history of Notre Dame basketball and its success. Here you are at a football crazy school now, coming from a football crazy school at Penn State. Just what is your perspective on the history of Notre Dame basketball, and how would you characterize it?
First and foremost, I'm like, I said it was on social media. Like, and I'm a man of my word. Like, whatever I say. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it honestly. I don't have, like, a filter. And I told Marcus's team the other day, I grew up a huge Notre Dame football fan. Like, every Saturday sitting on the couch. Like, I'm not lying about that. You can ask my parents. They're sitting right over there. I was watching all the time. And I love it. I love being at a place that has great football. I can't wait to be there on Saturdays watching and cheering, being at practices. You know, he's going to get tired of seeing me. But I'm going to be there and be really supportive just because I do. I love it so much. But there's also a history of basketball here, right, which means you can do both. You can have success in both. You can have success in a lot of sports. You look at all the other sports that are having success, right? Like this weekend while I'm at home, fencing's winning another national championship, right? Like I watched Neil's teams and what they were doing. Yeah. I watched Neil's team play in the Sweet 16. Like I know that lacrosse was 1 versus 3 last week. So it's pursuing excellence. It's pursuing excellence. But there's a history of pursuing excellence here, and that's individually and that's as a team. And I love being able to look up there and see the success that's happened here. And I just want to follow up on it. Right there's great people there that have done great things, great coaches, and they've laid the blueprint of how can you have success here. Right? You don't need to rewrite the book. Right? You can have success by doing it how other people did it. Now I just have to do it in my own way.
The roster that you've inherited is awfully fragmented in a time when college basketball is very transient. Can you provide a sense as to how you're going to make up a roster? Have you spoken with the current players, gotten a commitment from any of them, some of the past players that you've coached or recruits, transfer portal, et cetera?
Yeah, I have had a chance to sit down with current players, and I really enjoyed that because you don't get into a lot of basketball specific things. I wanted to know who they were. I wanted to know about their families. I wanted to know what their goals were. They're Notre Dame kids. They're Notre Dame kids, right? People don't just willingly leave this place. There's something special here. There's something special that drew them here. So now they have to look and find that inside, what it was that attracted them here. But also, I'm going to be real with them. Like, I want them to be happy, first and foremost, right? I got to make a decision that made me happy. College athletes in this day and age can be selfish, but they got to find what makes them happy. And that's who I'm going to coach. I'm going to coach the people who are going to be happy to be here, that want to be here. And then when you find those guys, when they're 2 feet in, they're going to have success. They're going to have success. I know Father John and Jack, we've discussed this, and I'm sure they're expecting me to field the team next year. So it's one of my goals is I want to be able to field the team, right? Like, we got to play a game. We only need 5, though. You get 5 and we're good. I can't play. I'm not playing. I told you, I'm not even putting the jersey on. I'm not going to play. They don't want me anyway, unless they need a spot-up shooter. It's not getting back on defense. But once we find those guys, we're going to find the right fits. I'm not going to skip steps to build a roster. I'm not going to skip steps. I have a vision for the present and a vision for the future, but they have to be fits for this place. They have to be fits for me. And that's what we're going to look to do. I'm anxious to get on the court with the current guys so they get a feel for me and how I want to do things, and hopefully they start to see that, I see value in them as players, as people, and how they can help this program and where we can go going forward.
Pete Byrne, WSBT Television. Coach, welcome back to town. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Some similarities to Notre Dame and Butler, private schools in strong basketball conferences in the state of Indiana, which you've already talked about as being important to you. In your time at Butler, what did you learn about recruiting to a school like that and what it takes to win at a place like that and like this?
Mm-hmm. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Like, I've always recruited kids that would be good fits here. No matter what school I've been at, no matter what academic standards I've been at, I've always recruited kids. And maybe that's a Division III background in me. But you have to find, like I said, I'm big on people and I'm big on fit. You have to find people that fit your university. That's who's going to have success there. You also have to find people that, guys that can play for me, right? Like, you have to find that, or, they're not going to have success. And that's really big for me, is finding fits. That was what we did when we were at Butler. We recruited a lot of Indiana kids, which is going to be our goal here, is we want to recruit this state. I grew up and I've coached all over this state. We're going to find some guys that can play here. And there are guys that can play at Notre Dame from this state, and we're going to recruit them. But we're going to go all over to find the right fit, and having the brand of Notre Dame behind you will allow you to do that. Right? We can go find somebody, on the East Coast or somebody on the West Coast, and no stone will be unturned to find that person and find that fit. So when you do that, I think that's special. Neil's not going to like to hear this, but I've already started recruiting Hannah Hidalgo.
And it, I don't suppose she's available, is she? As you look at your to-do list over the next week, month, through the spring and summer, kind of how would you rank your priorities in terms of getting this program ready to play in the fall?
Yeah, I'm glad you finished that with getting the program ready, because you almost put me in a tough spot, because I would have been like, my priorities or my wife's priorities? Those are two different things. For me is getting with the current guys and getting on the court and working with them, right? That's number one priority for me. Is to get back on the court. I missed the game, even though we just finished playing. I don't even know how long ago. I don't even know what day it is right now. But we just, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we were just playing. But I miss being on the court. I miss practice. I love practice. I love workouts. I love being on the court. Like, that's number one priority for me. And then obviously recruiting. Recruiting is really important. It never stops, and it hasn't since this change has happened. And then, putting our staff together, finding the right guys to lead these young men to doing something special. So in that order, that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And there's time, right? Everything's so sped up in this microwave society. We got a lot of time. We don't play a game for a long time. There's time for us to get our system implemented. There's time for us to, do what we need to do to be successful. So I don't want to rush things. I want to find the right fits recruiting-wise, and I want to find the right fits staff-wise. Because like this isn't a quick fix. This is for sustainability for a long time, and that's the most important thing for me.
Chuck Freeby, WHME TV here in South Bend. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So you're an old school guy in a sport that's becoming new school now with NIL and the transfer portal. How do you plan to be able to use both of those? And with the transfer portal, what are your thoughts on being able to use that within the parameters of the university?
Yeah, I don't appreciate that old school comment, Chuck. I got bad hips, and I know I struggled to walk from there to here, but like I still feel like I'm pretty young. I got old school philosophies. How about that? But
I didn't say you were old. Just
yeah. Thank you. But you got to adjust to the times. That's how it is, right? I have young kids. I have a high schooler, or going to be 2 high schoolers, going to be 3. You adjust. And that's what college basketball is. It's about adapting, right? Whatever is happening then, like, you better get on board, you're going to get left behind. And I'm not in the business of getting left behind. So we're going to adapt, and we're going to adjust, and we're going to do what's right for us. And then there's still ways that you do it. I think we want to recruit high school kids. You know, I get a chance to know who they are, right? I can recruit them for a couple of years, and I know them, right? Then I know their families. I know everybody around them. Then it's easy for me to pick up the phone and call. Say, hey, Johnny's not doing what he said he was going to do. This is not what we agreed on, right? It's easy when you recruit somebody for a couple of years. Transfer portal is like speed dating. You don't always know them, right, until they get there. And then there's like, hey, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And there's some other things that come out. But I think you have to fit or find or use that for needs and need fit and to try and help you in certain areas. So our base is never going to change. Who we recruit, how we recruit. But you got to stay with the times. And that's, I guess, the new school in me can still do that. We have a young, energetic staff. You know, I spent time in the NBA. You got to adjust there. You got to, you know, if not, like you said, you're going to get left behind. So we're going to be okay in that area. I feel very confident in our administration. I feel confident in this place. I'm confident in where we're heading.
It's been a while since you coached Hubert Gentry at the Student Activities Center. How are you a better coach now than you were the last time you were coaching as a head coach in South Bend?
Yeah, Hubert Gentry is probably still dunking at 5'7" or 8". He's probably mad I called him that. He's at 5'9", Hubert. You're 5'9". It's such a vast difference. When I left college, I had this crazy goal in mind. I wanted to be a head coach at the age of 30, but I had no idea how hard that would be. But when I took the job at IUSB, I turned 30 that summer. And so I reached my goal. I hit it. But I had no idea what I was doing, right? I appreciate all those guys that played for me, that were there, all that they did, but I didn't know who I wanted to be as a coach. Right? I took pieces from who I worked for, who I played for, and I thought that was who I should be. I didn't have a philosophy. I wasn't being myself, right? And now, full circle moment, I'm way more comfortable in who I am as a coach, who I want to coach, how I want to do it, how I want things to run. So I thank them for going through what they did with me. And I still talk to a lot of those guys, and it'd be good to see them now that I'm back here in town. But it's complete. It's night and day. It's night and day from when I was there. Gladly. If it wasn't night and day, I wouldn't be standing here right now.
Hey, Micah. Chris Widlick, CBS 4, Indianapolis. Welcome home. I know you touched on your relationship with Brad Stevens and Butler. You spent 2 stints with Matt Painter at Purdue. Give me your thoughts on Matt, what he means to you, what he's done for you in your career.
Yeah, those 2 guys they're on speed dial for me. And Coach Painter, when I went back and got a chance to work for him, he showed me how to run a program. Right? His program is running flawlessly right now. It's just a well-oiled machine, recruiting, player development, everything else. I got to see every part of that. But he also let me experiment and do things. He let me bring ideas, and he was so comfortable that it was okay. Right? There were things that maybe didn't work, or even we failed, that I messed up. And he took all the heat for that, right? But he was trying to continue to push his program forward. So I thank him so much for that. And I still talk to him all the time. We were in the same league, and I'd call him all the time. I'd call him once a week or once every 2 weeks, and we're talking about different things. Nobody does that in league. That's just the kind of person he is and the relationship that we have. So I learned so much from both of those guys. In different areas, and I take a lot from them. But if you would talk to them both, the main thing that they always say is You just got to be yourself. Just got to be yourself, yeah.
I know you've been part of the Crossroads Classic in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. Would you like to get Paint and Purdue and maybe Butler back on the schedule? It's early, but...
Yeah. We'll play anybody. We'll play anybody. That's how you get better. That's how you're going to get better. And I'm sure that would be a huge attraction in the state with the ties and everything else. So, it's early. I want to look and see what else we got to do first. But I would love to talk to those guys about what's next and what we can do and how we can make it happen. And I'd love to get them up here to play some too.
Round of applause for Coach one more time. Well, Coach may not have a team yet, but it's clear he's 1-0 with the press conference. Great to have you here, Coach. That concludes everything for today. I would like to stop and just say thank you for letting me be a part of this incredible moment here in this new era of Notre Dame basketball. As I look around, I see ticket holders, I see fans, administration, the media here, coaches who do such a great job representing this university. And for me as a Notre Dame basketball player, seeing guys like my big brother Harold Swanigan out there, a guy like Tony Rolinski that means so much to me, this place truly is family. And to have a man like Micah Shrewsberry and his beautiful family here, to welcome them as a part of this thing and to tell our next several chapters and to continue to write this beautiful story. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention Coach Ivy wouldn't be here if it wasn't for injuries. She would be down in Dallas right now playing for a national championship. Congratulations, Coach, on a great season. This place is special, Coach Shrewsberry, very special. You're aware of that. Everybody here is aware of that. Jack, Father John, we're aware of that in selecting you to be our man to lead the way here moving forward. So on behalf of Notre Dame basketball, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the family of Notre Dame athletics in this university, Coach, welcome and go Irish. Thank you all for being here.